Welcome back, whiskey friends. Today we're going to talk about sour mash whiskey. What is it? How is it made? Why would you even want it? So today, the bottle that we're going to be looking at is Michter's Sour Mash. It's not technically a bourbon. They keep the mash bill kind of under lock and key. You don't really know what it is, but we're going to have a pour of it and talk about what makes a sour mash whiskey. So the term sour mash has to deal with how it's created. And when you start the distillation process, you combine different grains together. It's usually corn, either wheat or rye, and a malted barley. So whatever that recipe is, you put that in and create a mash with it. You add water, and then you cook it to release the sugars in it. Then you will add some yeast to further the process to get the flavors really rolling and all of that. So once that's done, what they do is they take a portion of that mash bill and they'll set it aside. And when they set that aside, that's what they call it's spent, or it's the back set. Then they'll make a whole new fresh batch, the same batch, put in the grains, add the water, boil it or whatever. I don't know if they actually boil it. I don't know what the temperature is. But once that's done and that's ready to be fermented, they'll add that back set to it. And so that back set, it's kind of like adding starter to sourdough. It adds that, it interacts with the yeast. And what it does is it lowers the pH level. That adding that back set lowers the pH level. And when you lower the pH level, you create an acidic environment. And that's kind of important to that, because one of the reasons that you do a sour mash is for the fermentation control that it provides. And so with that acidic environment, it kills or controls the wild yeast that can be infused into the recipe. And so you get a very consistent flavor profile. There isn't much variation from batch to batch to batch. You get a cleaner mash. You just have a real consistent product in the end. So let's take a little sip of this. It's got some good color. Kind of, I'm picking up a apple. An apple and vanilla. Now, this is actually the first time I've tried this. I just opened this bottle. It doesn't have a real oily consistency. It's not dry, but it's not oily. It's kind of right in the middle. It doesn't have a ton going on. Now, this is only 86 proof, so you're not going to get a real dynamic experience with it, but it's got some caramel. It's got a little bit of like baking spice. Yeah, some dark fruit, baking spice, caramel. Not bad, not bad. I would have a pour of this. Um, it'd be really good in an old fashioned. Um, this definitely, I'm going to try to make some. Well, I won't try, but I will make some old fashions with this, and just see what it what it tastes like. So sour mash. Uh, this process is involved in probably 90% of the bourbons that you drink. It may not say it on the label, but because of the consistency, the fermentation control, the sour mash process is widely used. Um, the alternative to sour mash is what they call sweet mash, and that's more rare. And one of the reasons it's more rare is you don't have that lower pH, so you don't have the high acidic environment for the yeast and all of that. And so contaminants can kind of thrive, bacteria can kind of thrive if the pots and everything that you use isn't super sterile, then you can ruin the batch really easy. But with the sweet mash, you do get some really unique flavor profiles. They're not consistent. They'll really vary from batch to batch because you're starting all over and you're not using that back set in the process. So risk of contamination is really a con in the sweet mash. So who does the sweet mash? You'll have brands like Peerless, New Riff does a sweet mash, Castle and Key does a sweet mash, Wilderness Trail, Chattanooga Whiskey, I think number 91 does a sweet mash. And so it's just another thing. When you see sour mash on a bottle, don't expect to get something out of the ordinary. It just means you're going to get what really is ordinary, or which is common in the distillating process or the making of the bourbon. So don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. I would say this Michter's, and this is a neck pour. I just poured it out of the neck. So it's got a little bit of a bite to it, an alcohol bite to it, but not bad. I think this bottle is going to calm down. Every time I take another drink from it, I'm just getting some more complexity to it. So I think the complexity is there. It's a young bourbon, I believe. So for a young, low proof bourbon, I think this is I think I paid $49 for it. It's not a bad bottle. I think it would make a great old fashioned, but it would also be a nice daily sipper. So hope that helps. Hope it just gives you a little more clarity in the bourbon world. So as always, have fun, drink responsibly, and stay safe. See you later.